Imagine plunging into the future ocean, where the deadliest battles leave no traces at all. In this vanishing world, evolution whispers a chilling secret. Survival belongs not to the fastest or strongest, but to the unseen. Picture cuttlefish today, their skin rippling like living watercolor, shifting colors faster than your eyes can follow. Octopuses melt into coral branches. Glass squid fade into the blue abyss with translucent bodies that mock the light. These are no tricks of the mind. They're feats of biology honed over millions of years. But what if tomorrow's seas push this art to horrifying extremes? What hidden forces drive creatures to erase themselves from existence? Could you swim through waters where nothing seems alive, yet death lurks everywhere? The ocean's future holds answers that blur the line between seen and imagined. Feel that prickle on your skin yet? Our story begins with light itself, the ultimate betrayer in this invisible war. Sunlight pierces the waves, scattering into blues and greens that reveal every silhouette to hungry eyes. Yet nature fights back with chromatophores, tiny sacs bursting with pigment that expand and contract like obedient soldiers. Cuttlefish command thousands of these, creating hypnotic waves of disguise in seconds. Real footage shows them vanishing against sandy bottoms or rocky reefs, fooling even the sharpest predators. But evolution never rests. It hungers for perfection. In tomorrow's depths, imagine skins that don't just match patterns but predict them, reading currents and shadows before they form. How would you hunt something that anticipates your gaze? This isn't fantasy. It's the logical next step from today's marvels. The sea is already practicing for total invisibility. Now descend deeper, where light fades to twilight and true darkness reigns. Here, glass squid thrive, their bodies 90% transparent, organs hidden behind light-reflecting tissues. They counter-illuminate, glowing softly from below to match the surface shimmer, erasing their shadow for divers above. Octopuses jet through ink clouds that aren't mere smoke but precise mimics of the chaos around them. These tactics work today, but future pressures like overfishing and warming waters will demand more. What emerges could chill the boldest explorer, creatures whose transparency borders on the supernatural. Envision forms that bend light around themselves, cloaking entire bodies like ocean phantoms. Would sonar even detect such ghosts? Science hints at this through cephalopod proteins that manipulate photons with eerie precision. The vanishing world feels closer with every dive. Consider the physics at play, where every ripple and ray becomes a weapon. Mirror cells in fish like the sardine reflect the world behind them, turning schools into shimmering voids. Dolphins glimpse these illusions and pass by, bellies empty. But tomorrow amplifies this horror. Skins embedded with nanostructures that scatter light like fog, rendering outlines to mist. Research on cephalopod iridophores already shows cells stacking crystals to twist polarization, invisible to most eyes. Predators evolve counters, yet prey stays one step ahead in this endless chase. What if a single touch reveals the ruse, or worse, triggers a deadly counterstrike? The ocean's arms race turns personal, intimate, terrifying. You begin to wonder who's watching whom in these silent depths. Mystery coils tighter with each revelation. Transition now to bioluminescence, nature's flashlight turned traitor. Deep-sea anglers dangle lures that pulse like lost prey, drawing victims into toothy maws. Vampire squid spray glowing mucus, creating false trails amid panicked escape. These lights don't illuminate. They deceive, piercing the black with lies. Future evolution might weaponize this further, with creatures syncing flashes to mimic schools or mates. Imagine swarms pulsing in unison, forming phantom herds that lure giants to doom. Horror creeps in. What trusts its eyes in a world of forged signals? Real squid already eject photophores that drift and distract, buying precious seconds. Scaling this up paints ecosystems alive with treacherous glows. The vanishing world pulses with deceptive fire, pulling you deeper into dread. Yet this arms race whispers a darker truth. Invisibility demands sacrifice. Transparent bodies expose vital organs, a gamble where one wrong glance spells death. Cuttlefish pay with constant energy, reshaping skins at metabolic cost. Glass squid risk predation from below, their glow a double-edged blade. Tomorrow's masters might evolve armored transparency, layers that fool while shielding. Or perhaps they merge with water itself, densities matching the sea around them. How fragile must life become to achieve such perfection? Science observes jellyfish drifting unseen, their forms diffused into fluid nothingness. This path evokes unease, a reminder that perfection flirts with extinction. Feel the ocean's cold logic pressing in, unrelenting and unforgiving. As pressures mount from climate shifts and vanishing food, desperation breeds genius. Warmer waters thin oxygen layers, forcing migrations into crowded realms. Here, camouflage evolves brutally efficient, selecting for the subtlest vanishers. Today's prototypes hint at horrors. Octopuses impersonating lionfish, spines and all, to repel foes. Future seas might birth communal cloaks, where schools link chromatophores into vast illusions. Picture a reef-sized mirage, hiding predators within plain sight. What explorer pierces such collective deceit? Studies on fish mirror cells predict this escalation, turning groups into single ghosts. The vanishing world escalates, each adaptation more ingenious, more nightmarish. Curiosity battles growing chill down your spine. Pause here in the twilight zone, where these forces converge into something profound. The ocean teaches that seeing is no longer believing. It's a vulnerability. From cuttlefish canvas to squidly specters, evolution crafts masters of the unseen. But questions linger like shadows. How far will this go before the sea empties of form? Will drones and subs capture glimpses or join the fooled? Today's biology plants seeds of tomorrow's terrors, grounded in proteins and physics we barely grasp. This invisible war reshapes our understanding, blending awe with primal fear. Dive deeper if you dare, but remember, in tomorrow's sea, the greatest threat is what you cannot see. The hook sinks in, promising revelations ahead. What lurks beyond the light thieves? Light itself becomes the traitor in tomorrow's ocean, where every photon carries a lie. Dive with me into the age of light thieves, where creatures don't just hide. They steal the very glow that reveals them. Today's cuttlefish ripple with chromatophores, those microscopic pigment bombs that explode in hypnotic patterns, fooling predators in a blink. But future evolution hungers for more, twisting skins into photon-scattering fog that blurs outlines into watery ghosts. Imagine swimming through a sea where your flashlight beam scatters uselessly, absorbed or redirected by living mirrors. How do you spot dinner when light bends to the hunter's will? Science already teases this with iridophores, crystal-stacked cells in squid that polarize light invisible to most eyes. The water thickens with deception, each wave a potential ambush. Feel the unease creeping as visibility unravels. What lurks in that shimmering void? Bioluminescence kicks off this thievery, nature's own cold fire piercing the abyss. Deep-sea anglers dangle Esca lures packed with glowing bacteria, mimicking lost prey to draw fools into jagged jaws. Vampire squid spew sticky, sparkling mucus, a dazzling smokescreen that blinds and confuses attackers in the black. Lanternfish line their bellies with photophores, matching down-welling moonlight to erase shadows from above. These aren't random sparks. They're calculated deceptions, blue-green wavelengths tuned for maximum ocean penetration. Tomorrow amplifies the horror. Swarms sinking pulses to forge phantom schools, luring giants to crash. Would you trust a glow in endless dark, or sense the trap closing? Research shows bobtail squid farming bacteria in light organs, venting just enough to vanish against the night sky. Light thieves turn illumination into invitation to doom. The sea pulses with treacherous rhythm, pulling you closer. Polarization enters next, light's hidden twist exploited by tomorrow's masters. Cephalopod iridophores stack platelets like nanoscale mirrors, reflecting only certain vibes while swallowing others. Fish like sardines already mirror the backdrop, schools dissolving into rippling voids that starve dolphin appetites. Future skins embed metamaterials, bending rays around bodies like ocean cloaks of invisibility. Picture a predator gliding unseen, its form a polarization puzzle I can solve. How fragile becomes sight when waves deceive at the quantum edge. Labs mimic this with synthetic reflectors inspired by fish scales, hinting at evolutionary leaps ahead. Prey counters evolve too, eyes tuned to spot the subtle twist. Yet the arms race accelerates, light fracturing into weapons of war. Dread builds as the familiar spectrum fractures into foe. Counterillumination refines the theft, creatures glowing to match the heavens above. Hawaiian bobtail squid pulse ventral lights, silencing silhouettes for surface hunters. Stoplight loosejaws wield red beams unseen by prey, scanning darkness with chlorophyll-laced eyes. Dragonfish flash covert reds, turning night hunts into one-sided slaughters. In future depths, imagine adaptive glows shifting spectra on demand, stealing every stray photon. What defense against a foe that wears the light like camouflage? Swima worms detach bioluminescent bombs, drifting decoys that explode in brilliant distraction. Scaling this paints horrors. Colossal jellies veiling fleets in false firmament. Science grounds it in photoprotein chemistry, luciferin fueling cold flames without heat. The abyss ignites with imposters, blurring friend from fatal illusion. Photons scattering fogs the battlefield further, nanostructures diffusing beams into harmless mist. Pelican eels cloak in ultra-black skins, absorbing 99.7% of light, ghosts even to bioluminescent peers. Tomorrow's thieves layer quantum dots, scattering rays across spectra to erase edges entirely. Swarms form living hazes, schools mimicking particulate clouds that hide teeming killers within. How do you strike when outlines dissolve into soup? Mirror cells evolve communal, vast surfaces reflecting chaos in unison. Real squid eject photophore clouds, buying escape in dazzling drift. Evolution selects the subtlest scatterers, turning water into weaponized weather. Tension mounts as clarity crumbles, senses screaming at empty seas. Mystery thickens like ink in the glow. Spectral mimicry seals the theft, creatures fingerprinting the ocean's own palette. Glass squid reflect ambient blues with translucent tissues, vanishing into the medium. Future forms red currents, chromatophores predicting light shifts before they strike. Colonies link sensors, projecting unified spectra that fool orbital scans. Imagine drones piercing depths, sensors blinded by perfect environmental echo. Who's the thief when sea and beast merge in mimicry? Studies on lanternfish photophores reveal pattern languages, mating calls in light code. Pressures like acidification sharpen this desperate life stealing signatures for survival. Horror whispers. Even humanity's gaze grows futile. Light's betrayal feels personal now, intimate. This age demands energy tolls, thieves paying dearly for stolen glows. Constant recalibration drains reserves, transparent frames exposing vitals to risk. Cuttlefish exhaust reshaping skins, future hybrids fusing biooptics with brutal efficiency. Yet genius blooms from necessity, symbiotic bacteria fueling endless luminescence. What price invisibility when one slip invites annihilation? Jellyfish drift diffused, forms surrendered to fluid perfection. The logic chills. Mastery flirts with fragility's edge. Ecosystems tilt toward light lords, prey dwindling in the glareless war. Awe mixes with primal shiver, evolution's cold calculus laid bare. As light thieves claim dominion, questions haunt the depths. How far until the ocean glows only with lies? Will quantum sensors pierce the veil or join the deceived? Today's biology seeds tomorrow's spectral nightmares, proteins and physics forging unseen realms. From angler lures to polarization phantoms, the arms race illuminates nothing but peril. Dive if you dare, but beware. In this era, light hunts you. The stage sets for predators unseen, suspense coiling tighter. What emerges from light's fractured rain? The sea holds its breath, glowing with secrets untold. Invisibility didn't end the war. It just plunged the battlefield into eternal night, birthing predators of the unseen. Welcome to the heart of tomorrow's ocean, where hunters forsake flash for phantom strikes that chill the soul. Dragonfish already prowl these depths, their translucent fangs gleaming faintly with light-scattering nanostructures, invisible until they pierce flesh. Transparent teeth let them yawn wide without a glint betraying the trap, perfect for snaring glowing prey in the void. Hatchetfish slice through twilight with blade-like bodies, counter-illuminating bellies to erase shadows from above. These aren't myths. They're evolutionary blades honed by merciless selection. But future seas demand more. Sonar silent killers whose forms absorb echoes like sponges. How do you flee what registers as empty water? The tension coils as prey senses shift to whispers of pressure and vibe. Dread seeps in, slow and suffocating. Stealth blooms from silence first, predators evolving skins that muffle sonar pings into nothingness. Today's loose jaws emit red beams unseen by most, stalking with chlorophyll eyes that pierce bioluminescent lies. Tripod fish perch on elongated fins, tactile sensors drinking current cues while bodies blend into sediment ghosts. Imagine tomorrow's horrors. Forms coated in anechoic metamaterials, echoing false floors to lure the unwary. Barrel-eye fish already tube their eyes upward, scanning through transparent domes for silhouettes above. Evolution amplifies this, birthing communal hunters linking electric fields to mass group hunts. What instinct warns when sound itself deceives? Vampire squid spray not just glow but acoustic decoys, muddling echolocation in panicked bursts. The abyss hushes, pregnant with unseen intent. Every ripple hides a strike. Electric ghosts join the fray, predators wielding bioelectric pulses to ghost through sensor webs. Knife fish today navigate murky rivers with field maps, detecting heartbeats through flesh and murk. Deep-sea analogs evolve electrolocation cloaks, jamming prey nerves with subtle discharges. Picture swarms pulsing in unison, forging phantom herds that draw loners to doom. Mantis shrimp spear soft bodies from burrows, latch spring limbs exploding at 23 meters per second. Future hybrids fuse this with stealth skins, invisible until the harpoon flies. How fragile life when fields betray your pulse. Stargazers bury nearly whole, waiting eternally for drifting meals. Science whispers of pressure-adapted nerves, sensing the faintest flex miles away. Horror builds in the electric hum, intimate and inescapable. False shadows weaponize absence, predators projecting voids that mimic safe expanses. Wobbegong sharks fringe their flattened forms with tassels, dissolving into reef illusions for ambush leaps. Tomorrow scales this. Colossal jellies veiling maws in silhouette erasing glows from below. Telescope fish tube eyes forward, binocular precision locking glowing morsels before extendable jaws engulf. Their cast-iron stomachs hide digestion's glow, eternal stealth post-kill. What trust remains when darkness pulses with intent? Aegina citria thrust tentacles ahead like spectral lures, snaring the curious in bell shadows. Pressures forge these phantoms, overfished shallows driving bold descents. The sea's pulse quickens with hidden heartbeats. Mystery veils the hunters thick as ink. Mechanosensory webs extend the hunt, predators feeling worlds beyond sight or sound. Sea pigs trundle abyssal plains, tube feet tasting chemical trails in barren cold. Comb jellies refract rainbows from cilia rows, yet snatch plankton with sticky stealth. Future lords grow whisker arrays rivaling shark lateral lines, mapping vibes through stratified layers. Dumbo octopuses flap ear-like fins silently, gelatinous forms pressure-proof and phantom-light. Imagine fields of false vibes, corrals of sensation luring schools to shredders. How do you navigate when touch lies? Bloody belly jellies cloak scarlet guts in crimson camouflage, invisible to red-blind peers. Evolution's logic chills. Mastery demands total surrender to sense. The depths throb with unseen caresses. Swarm intelligence elevates the unseen, packs hunting as one blurred horror. Lanternfish schools already flash codes, but tomorrow links nerves into hive minds projecting group illusions. Pelagic swarms form living voids, densities matching water to ghost through sonar nets. Predator queens coordinate pulses, electric symphonies herding prey to kill zones. What solitude survives collective deceit? Real hatchetfish dart blade bodies in unison, evading by multiplicity. Scaling paints nightmares. Reef-sized phantoms devouring migrants whole. Studies hint at quorum sensing in bacteria priming multicellular stealth. The individual dissolves into the undetectable mass. A wars with terror scale overwhelming sense. This rain extracts brutal tolls, unseen hunters burning energy in eternal vigil. Slowed metabolisms conserve in sparse dark, yet ambush demands explosive readiness. Gelatinous frames withstand crush, but exposed to counterstrikes from desperate prey. Dragonfish pay with barbel lures, risking theft by rivals. Tomorrow's elites fuse efficiencies, symbiotic microbes fueling endless weight. What breaks first, body or will in infinite patience? Soft bodies adapt, osmolyte fluids balancing pressure without bladders. The calculus terrifies, life reshaped for the long kill. Ecosystems tilt to these shades, prey dwindling in blind panic. Unease settles, heavy as hadal weight. Predators of the unseen redefine the war, sight forsaken for subtler slaughters. From sonar sponges to electric enigmas, tomorrow's ocean breeds lords of absence. Questions echo unanswered. How keen must senses grow to pierce this veil? Drones falter now. Will quantum nets prevail or feed the ghosts? Grounded in today's blades and buriers, spectral futures loom undeniable. Dive deeper, but heed the hush. Here, the greatest hunter leaves no ripple, no gleam, no trace. Suspense crests for prey's riposte, the cycle unbroken. What counters the uncounterable? The sea waits, breathless and black. Prey strikes back in tomorrow's ocean, flipping the invisible war with desperate genius born of terror. No longer mere ghosts fleeing shadows, these future survivors wield counter-adaptations that turn hunters' stealth against them. Quantum light cues flicker first, eyes tuned to single-photon whispers that pierce polarization veils. Bioelectric shimmers pulse warnings, detecting nerve flares through water's conductive veil. Colonies birth phantom decoys, swarms projecting illusory forms to scatter the bold. This isn't retreat. It's rebellion, evolution arming the hunted with senses sharper than fangs. How does a predator pounce when prey sees through darkness itself? Today's jellyfish already drift with mechanoreceptors mapping vibes across voids. Dread twists to defiance as the underdogs rise. The sea trembles with their awakening. Quantum vision leads the charge, prey evolving retinas that snare stray photons in eternal night. Lanternfish today tube eyes upward, spotting silhouettes against faint downwelling glow. Future forms amplify this, corneas channeling single quanta to rod cells starved for light. Imagine schools sensing strikes seconds ahead, quantum probabilities tipping escape odds. Would hunters risk the telltale glint of their own bioluminescent lures? Elephant seals already detect wakes at 17 meters via vibrissae nerves, 1,500 endings per whisker mapping trails. Scaling paints horrors reversed, prey fields rivaling predator reach. Lateral lines evolve hypersensitive, cupulas vibrating to muscle twitches miles off. Science hints at opsin tweaks boosting sensitivity thousandfold. Empowerment surges through the weak, chilling in its precision. Bioelectric sentinels crackle next, prey reading electric ghosts in the current. Knifefish navigate murk with field gradients today, tomorrow's analogs jamming predator pulses preemptively. Weekly electric discharges flood zones, masking heartbeats in static storms. Picture vast nets of nerves, colonies linking to form living radar jammers. How stealthy the unseen when every flex broadcasts doom. Shark sense volts at meters now, but prey counters evolve insulating gels, shedding fields like cloaks. Mantis shrimp spears explode silently, yet future schools preempt with collective buzz. Studies show squid axons firing at electric cues, buying flea time in black. The battlefield hums with rebellion, intimate shocks rippling out. Awe builds amid the buzz of uprising. Phantom decoys multiply the madness, swarms birthing ghosts to haunt the hunters. Comb jellies refract cilia rainbows today, luring glances while slipping away. Tomorrow scales to armies, synchronized pulses forging herds that lure loners to empty strikes. Detachable lures drift glowing, exploding in distraction bursts that blind sonar minds. What faith in senses when doubles dance everywhere? Vampire squid mucus mimic schools already future versions coding false signals in light Morse. Quorum sensing links billions, decisions rippling through bacterial hives. Predators waste on phantoms, energy ebbing in futile chases. Horror flips, the hunted become haunt. Deception democratizes, thrilling in its cunning. Swarm intelligence weaves the ultimate shield, schools linking into superorganisms of guile. Myctophids flash codes for mates now, tomorrow projecting vast illusions via phase-locked glows. Chromatophore cascades ripple across thousands, mimicking whale flanks to repel. Density-matched fluids let groups ghost as water, invisible to pressure probes. How pierce a reef of rippling lies. Real sardines mirror in unison, starving dolphins with void schools. Evolution forges neural nets spanning fins, tactics adapting mid-hunt. Studies on fish shoals predict escalation, turning multitudes to monoliths of mirage. The many overwhelm the mighty, scale birthing strategy. Tension peaks as unity arms the frail. Chemical countermeasures seep in subtly, prey trails laced with aversion pheromones. Sea hares eject purple ink clouds today, baffling smell and sight in one foul burst. Future exudates mimic toxins, turning appetites to nausea mid-strike. Biofilms coat skins, jamming olfactory hunts with neutral noise. Imagine predators recoiling from phantom poisons, bellies churning. Lobsters detect amino traces at parts per billion. Prey evolves counters flooding false feasts. Acidification sharpens this chemical chess, desperate molecules mutating fast. Ecosystems rebalance as repellents rise. Unease lingers in the tainted currents, survival's sour tang. Genius whispers from the vulnerable depths. Energy trades haunt these triumphs, counters demanding vigilant metabolisms in sparse seas. Constant scanning drains reserves, transparent frames exposing to opportunistic strikes. Yet symbiosis fuels the fight, bacteria granting photon sight in exchange for homes. Jellyfish host glowing allies, future hybrids outsourcing senses entirely. What toll for eternal alertness in the void? Gelatinous efficiencies balance cost, drifting on currents to conserve. The logic grips. Rebellion refines fragility into fortitude. Prey populations surge then stabilize, wars tilting toward parity. A shiver runs through, pride mingling with peril's edge. As prey strikes back, the invisible war balances on a knife's edge of wit. From quantum glimpses to swarm specters, the hunted claim their throne in shadows. Questions swirl unanswered. How long until predators counterpunch? Will ecosystems stabilize in mutual deceit, or collapse under cunning's weight? Grounded in today's whiskers and wakes, tomorrow's riposts loom vivid. The cycle spins onward to ghost realms, suspense unbroken. Dive into habitats that lie where even reefs conspire. What horrors hide in collective camouflage? The sea exhales defiance, ready for the next veil. Zoom out now to the ghost ecosystems of tomorrow's sea, where entire habitats vanish into deceptive splendor. Coral reefs, plankton clouds, and kelp forests evolve not as static homes, but as living illusions, cloaking themselves against the invisible wars raging within. Surfaces shimmer with collective chromatophores, fading into daylight like mirages over sunlit waves. Deep trenches emit false echoes, sonar pings bouncing off phantom walls that hide teeming life below. This isn't mere camouflage. It's geography turned traitor, ecosystems conspiring in silent rebellion. How does a drone navigate realms where maps dissolve into lies? Today's sponges already blend into rocks with spicule mirrors, hinting at larger deceptions ahead. Melancholy seeps through the water, a sense of profound loss amid the awe. The ocean whispers secrets even it can't fully grasp. Feel the chill of worlds unseen unfolding. Coral reefs lead this spectral symphony, polyps linking into vast neural nets of disguise. Individual skeletons already mimic rubble, but future colonies pulse unified glows matching tidal lights from above. Counter-illumination scales to reef-wide, erasing silhouettes for miles of hidden nurseries. Planktonic algae symbiose, fueling pigments that shift with solar spectra in real time. Imagine predators circling barren expanses, bellies empty while life thrives inches away. What trust in eyes when reefs breathe invisibility? Sponges eject bioluminescent spores today, clouds baffling hunts in dazzling bursts. Evolution knits these into perpetual veils, pressures forging communal cloaks. Horror lingers in the emptiness, a void alive with unseen pulse. Ecosystems ascend to artistry, breathtaking and bewildering. Plankton clouds morph into drifting phantoms, billions sinking densities to ghost as nutrient soups. Dinoflagellates flash burglar alarms now, luring bigger threats to devour attackers mid-chase. Tomorrow's blooms project false schools, densities mimicking water to veil colossal krill swarms within. Chemical gradients repel scanners, exudates fouling sensors with neutral fog. Picture satellites scanning barren gyres, oblivious to teeming engines of the food web. How fragile our gaze when clouds conspire. Vampire squid mucus inspires this, sparkling barriers scaling to atmospheric scale. Acidification accelerates mutations, desperate microbes mutating into masters of mass deceit. The melancholy deepens, abundance hidden in plain sight. Mystery swirls like unseen currents, pulling deeper. Kelp forests weave underwater mirages, fronds linking chromatophores into rippling illusions. Giant kelp already sways light through blades, dappling floors in deceptive shade. Future stands form living scrims, bending polarization to erase trunks from sonar sweeps. Bioelectric fields hum warnings, repelling intruders with subtle shocks masked as noise. Swarms of symbiotic jellies drift within, counterglows perfecting the void. What explorer pierces forests that breathe illusion? Comb jellies refract today, rainbows veiling sticky snares. Scaling paints nightmares, woodland-wide webs snaring the unwary. Awe tempers dread, scale evoking ancient woods lost to fog. Habitats evolve sentience, eerie in their unity. Deep trenches birth abyssal ghosts, walls coated in anechoic biofilms absorbing every ping. Snailfish glide undetected today, translucent frames pressure-proof and phantom pale. Tomorrow's canyons pulse false floors, echoes mimicking shallows to lure migrants to doom. Methane seeps fuel chemosynthetic cloaks, bacteria granting invisibility for sulfur homes. Colossal squid ink evolves to acoustic smoke, muffling hunts in trench shadows. How map realms that echo lies. Hydrothermal vents already vent mineral hazes, baffling probes with thermal ghosts. Pressures forge these deceptions, isolation breeding bold extremes. Unease coils in the crush, isolation amplifying isolation. The hadal heart beats unseen, profound and perilous. Symbiotic webs bind these ghosts, microbes granting spectral powers to sluggish hosts. Bobtail squid farm bacteria for ventral glows today, perfect countershade erasing forms. Future ecosystems outsource deception, algae painting hosts in environmental echo. Fungal filaments lace substrates, neural-like signals coordinating mass illusions. Entire food webs link, decisions rippling through chemical morse. Imagine vents pulsing as one, repelling drill rigs with unified glare. What breaks the hive when parts play pretend? Lanternfish schools sync lights now, cohesion in the black. Evolution elevates alliances to architecture of absence. Melancholy beauty haunts, interdependence intimate as fear. Humanity's blindness grows acute, drones faltering in sensor-sabotaged seas. Orbital scans pierce shallows but falter at fractal deceptions below. Exploration yields barren data, maps redrawn in futile loops. Yet life explodes unseen, biomass surging in protected phantoms. Climate shifts sharpen this, warming driving bold evasions poleward. What price knowledge when nature perfects the veil? Today's ROVs already ghost through plumes, footage fading to static lies. Tomorrow demands new eyes, quantum nets chasing shadows. The loss aches, curiosity starved in abundance. Horror whispers obsolescence, our tools as fooled as fangs. Ghost ecosystems redefine the sea, habitats ascending to high art of absence. From reef neural nets to trench echo traps, tomorrow's worlds lie with liquid grace. Questions echo in voids. How sustainable this spectral splendor before collapse? Will humanity adapt sight, or wander blind forevermore? Grounded in bacterial bonds and vent veils, these realms loom tangible terrors. Suspense swells toward revelation's edge, senses straining. Dive into seeing the unseeable where tech meets the ultimate hide. What pierces perfection's shroud? The ocean exhales illusion, pregnant with unseen tomorrows. We arrive at the final veil in tomorrow's invisible wars. Seeing the unseeable, where humanity grapples with an ocean that hides its soul. Our technology races against evolution's relentless cunning, deploying quantum lidar to pierce photon-thieving skins and biocompatible sensors that mimic life's deceit. Curiosity burns fierce, yet fear shadows every breakthrough, whispering of seas forever beyond grasp. Could new imaging unravel ghost ecosystems, or merely feed the illusions? Anglerfish lures already fool our cams today, bacterial glows pulsing like lost souls in the dark. Optimism flickers amid unease, tools evolving as fast as the abyss. Drones swarm with adaptive algorithms, learning deception's grammar mid-dive. The human spirit yearns to witness wars unseen, undeterred by dread. What price revelation in realms that punish the gaze? Suspense hangs thick as midnight water. Quantum lidar launches first, lasers pulsing entangled photons through scattering fogs undetectably. Unlike classical beams bent by metamaterial skins, these pairs whisper positions instantaneously, mapping ghosts by correlation alone. Deep-sea ROVs today capture viperfish barbels glowing blue-green, but future probes demand this edge. Imagine resolving reef-wide illusions, revealing nurseries pulsing in hidden splendor. Would predators adapt, evolving counters to quantum peaks? Labs prototype now, entangled sources piercing murky tanks with eerie precision. Bioelectric hybrids follow, sensors coded in neural mimics reading field gradients through cloaks. Elephant seals inspire, whiskers mapping wakes at impossible ranges. Surges with each test, humanity reclaiming sight. Yet horror lingers. What if life anticipates our probes? Biocompatible implants burrow next, microscopic allies infiltrating symbiotic webs. Bobtail squid host bacteria for counterglows. Tomorrow's spies ride such partnerships, relaying truths from within. Neural lace threads jellies, hijacking photophores to betray the hive. Picture colossal squid arms detaching in panic, yet tagged limbs broadcasting strikes to surface sats. How intimate the invasion when tech wears living flesh. Atala jellies flash burglar alarms today, startling foes with ringfire. Implants could decode these signals into tactical maps. Swima worms bomb bioluminescent tails for escape, future tags turning bombs to beacons. Optimism crests, alliances bridging man and monster. Dread coils beneath. Betrayal breeds retaliation. The line blurs between observer and prey. AI neural nets learn deception's tongue, pattern-matching phantom swarms in real time. Lanternfish photophores code mates now. Tomorrow's algorithms cracking light Morse across miles. Drones evolve flocking behaviors, mirroring prey tactics to infiltrate without alarm. Satellite constellations pulse infrared nets, spotting thermal ghosts through visual lies. What faith in machines when oceans rewrite rules nightly? Stoplight loosejaws wield red beams unseen. Hyperspectral cams counter with chlorophyll-piercing scans. Pelican eels absorb 99% light, yet acoustic tomography maps voids by absence. Evolution meets computation, chess in the crush. Unease tempers triumph, intelligence dueling deeper intellect. Acoustic holography sculpts soundscapes, resolving false echoes from trench phantoms. Today's multi-beam sonars ghost hydrothermal plumes. Quantum variants phase arrays to image through anechoic biofilms. Colossal squid ink muffles pings, but diffracted waves reconstruct forms from ripples alone. Imagine unveiling swarm minds, schools pulsing as unified lies exposed in 3D glory. How vulnerable the veil when sound sees through silence. Viperfish fangs scatter barely, yet passive hydrophones drink Fongflex vibes. Pressures forge these tools, warming seas demanding desperate dives. Awe swells with clarity regained, humanity's reach extending. Horror whispers escalation. Life counters every cast. Genetic tracers seed the soup, CRISPR-tagged microbes infiltrating food webs as spies. Dinoflagellates bloom luminous today. Edited strains glow true amid false flares, mapping biomass unseen. Symbioses betray hosts, luciferin reporters firing at predation cues. Satellite fluorescence hunts these sparks, charting invisible wars from orbit. What ethical chill in rewriting ocean code for sight? Vampire squid mucus dazzles predators, tagged particles tracing consumption chains. Pyrosomes chain glow in tubes, tracers revealing colony secrets. Optimism battles revulsion, power intoxicating yet profane. The abyss yields data, reluctant and rich. Yet every unveiling births deeper hides. Evolution's retort swift and merciless. Quantum-proof skins entangle counterpairs, LiDAR loops feeding false maps. Implants ejected as invaders, AI nets poisoned by viral code in bacterial hives. History echoes. Angler-esque fool's cams, now scales to ecosystem sabotage. How eternal the chase. Humanity forever chasing tails in the dark. Climate accelerates both, desperation birthing bolder blinds. Tools refine, yet doubt gnaws. Do we see truth, or refined ruse? Melancholy tempers elation, knowledge fragile as phosphorescence.